All right, so informally, really quick, I want to talk about why you will never catching me do a 3 reasons why you can tell you're a witch or a spiritual person or a starseed post. Because what I've come to realize is that all of the assumptions that people come to when they're just getting into spirituality, a religion, they're all so wrong. And I even went through this. So, like, this is not a dig on anybody. This is something that I'm recognizing. Like, even as I get deeper into Rosicrucianism, the human intuition as a 3D body, or sorry, rewind that for a second. Our human instinct that we've learned as a 3D body is wrong. We've learned these instincts that are wrong because you can learn bad instincts. You can't have bad intuition, which is why I wanted to reverse that. Start over. Because when you learn to tap into your intuition is always right. Anytime I've never listened, the handful of times I've not listened to my intuition, someone's died, something catastrophic has happened, I've been in a car accident. There have been at least one time where I did try to listen to my intuition and still ended up in a car accident. So I've really learned to trust my intuition because I've learned the difference between my human instincts that I've learned that are bad instincts and my good intuition. And we can learn good instincts too. Most of the people that I work with are just people who've learned bad instincts. Like, I have people that find themselves trusting all of the bad things and not trusting all of the good things. And I have to help them flip-flop that. But so when it comes to spirituality and things like that, what I've realized is that, like, often people will think, oh, well, my third eye is my third eye chakra is really overactive. Why is that? And what I've come to realize is that's partly because there's this sensationalism that happens in spirituality, witchcraft, things of that nature, where people think that the third eye chakra, because it's the most mystical, is the most important. But I find most people who think their third eyes are overactive, really it's their heart chakras that are overactive and need healing. Which is why I really like, and I got this from somebody else, calling it heart work rather than shadow work. So I've started calling it heart work rather than shadow work. Spiritual therapy. Technically, I can't call it therapy because I'm not a therapist, but you get what I'm just talking. So that's why I never do any of these posts, because also you can be whatever the F you want to be. You don't have to have special characteristics. No one's born anything. We are born blank slates of love and light. And then we learn things. And that dictates where we go in life. So there are no 3 things, top 10 things that make you anything. You can be whatever you want, whenever you want. It's all about the stories you tell yourself. And most of those stories, most of those types of things are attachments that we don't need to be telling ourselves to be any of that anyway. Because you are you. You don't be anything, really, in the grand scheme of things. You are you, and you consists of things. You don't be anything. You are you. And that you consists of things. So, yeah. Yeah, I find it really interesting that I try to be real, and I try not to do all of the things that most people do to try to grab people in. I try to not run around talking about the best this and the best that, because honestly, I'm probably going to do a money blocks video here shortly, just because everything I've learned about money blocks it's really all the same stuff that people do in the heart work and the therapy and the shadow work, whatever you want to call it, counseling, coaching, just for money. All of these things can be applied to the same things. So specifically when it comes to money blocks, I have never taken a money blocks course that's been anything special or unique. So I feel like at this point I'm going to be giving that information out for free to everybody that follows me. Because it's really easy. It's really easy to do. And if you can start mastering that, then you can start mastering it with these techniques for lots of other things in your life, rather than just money blocks, but all of your blind spots. So I want to get people started on that, because money seems to be one of those things that everybody is attracted to. And yeah, I'm really feeling this really interesting cognitive dissonance in myself this evening. Because there are certain things that need to be addressed. Like, for instance, with grief work, you have to talk about the past to release it, which doesn't mean you're putting it into the future. That's the whole misconception with affirmations and things of that nature. And talking about, putting bad things. Like, I can talk about the fact that the last year of my life, in comparison to the years before, was shit. It was crap. It sucked. Totally. My last year was not the best year of my life when it came to a lot of things. And that had nothing to do with what I was doing. And most of it had nothing to do with what most of us were doing. And yet I still had a great year. And I still moved forward to better because I didn't let it get me down. But I can still admit that in comparison to when I had crap tons of money before that, it sucked. Having the clients that I had decide that they couldn't be my clients anymore because of lockdowns, that sucked. I had to feel like I was rebuilding my business from scratch online rather than in person. Some of which didn't translate the same way. I had to refigure out how to do some of those things, get some of those things communicated. Because it wasn't in person. That wasn't fun. I'm not going to say that was fun. I'm not going to say that was the best thing ever. And I think we really need to start being willing to be honest, because it's all this toxic positivity, spiritual bypassing stuff. And sometimes we just need a witness to the frustration to let it go. And I have some techniques that I do with that keeps me from getting stressed out, that I do with myself, that I do with my clients. So if something is a cliche, especially in the spiritual world, it's probably got a deeper contradiction when you get deeper into spirituality, which will teach you that cliche isn't a cliche because it's right. It's a cliche and it's probably wrong. Again, which is why that's where I was going with this, which is why I don't like to do any of these 10 ways to be at anything, 10 ways to know you're in anything. You can be whatever you want, anytime you want, whenever you decide you want to be it. So decide who you want to be today. Decide who you want to be tomorrow. And figure out how to be that. Whatever you want. All right, guys, I'm going to go to bed. May the energy you serve you well. Be brave. Stay sane. Let's keep making our way through and be kinder to each other. Let's have messages of love. Because it's either a message of love or it's not. And we need more messages of love. So ask yourself. Because there's a lot of judgment going around. And if it's not a message of love, it's a message of hate, of judgment, of fear, of sadness. of pain. So let's stop putting judgment out into the world. Let's stop putting as much pain out into the world. Let's stop putting as much sadness and fear out into the world. Let's put some more love out into the world. And if you don't have anything nice to say, is it loving? Because there can be things that you have to say that aren't nice, that are loving. But is it a message of love or not? And if it's not, let's cut that shit out. All right, guys. Good night.